Kim, thank you for spending some time with us today. It's been an incredible week. Lots of AWS presence, been in a number of panels, been to AWS House. Great to have you here. So again, thanks for spending some time with us.
Likewise, great to be here.
I want to talk about volatility initially. There's always been volatility in the energy market, but never so much as right now. And so where we started looking previously at what we're doing in the next quarter, what's the quarterly view, what's the future view, that doesn't work anymore because by the time we get there, it would already have changed. What are you hearing in the industry around that and how we can adapt, and what would be your advice be?
Absolutely. Well, energy is actually facing many disruptions at once. So for example, when you had to do quarterly planning or even 5-year planning, we're now seeing energy operators ask for daily planning, weekly planning, monthly planning, or even scenario planning. If this happens on the supply side, what happens on the demand side? If this continues in this area, what happens in that area? And so what we're seeing is a lot of operators are asking for more market intelligence solutions, more technology that can help them be more agile and nimble to make a decision very quickly. And the cloud and generative AI are lending itself very well to helping them in those types of unprecedented disruptions that they're facing.
Yeah, and I guess it's never been so important to have like the right data in front of the right people really quickly. It's not just now around servicing up any data, it's the right data at the right time and being able to move really fast on that. And I guess that also then, when you think about the infrastructure that's supported on and all the tools we use and we think about that can really help with that. But what's the real kind of foundation from an architecture perspective, infrastructure perspective? What do we need to get right at the foundation level before we can really start getting that data responsive decision making going?
Great question. Well, we talked a bit in the panel today about a lot of our CTOs, but even our business stakeholders spend 60% of their time or upwards just looking for the data. And this industry has a lot of siloed data, has a lot of fragmented data. Some customers have 18 different siloed databases with 200 plus applications. And the big game changer that we're seeing is model context protocol. They're able to use this technology to connect these fragmented systems quickly. So we talked a little bit about that today with Anthropic, as well as how the cloud is helping them handle petabyte scale data and surface it quickly and get it to the right persona, to your point, to make a decision very quickly about whether they're doing something on wells, production, or even market intelligence. And so we've actually even connected some of our S&P Global data sets for our customers through the model context MCP protocol.
And talk a little bit more about MCP. It's almost demystified. People say we need MCP and not always clear about what they need. They just know it's something that they should use. So if maybe talk a little bit around that, and then also what do they need to do from a prerequisite perspective to have data ready to use MCP? We can't just necessarily turn it on, it's all around context.
We talked a little bit about that. So obviously in the energy industry, we see a lot of standards bodies, the OSGU data platform standards. So getting some data aligned to a standard, but we're even now seeing technologies such as generative AI, agentic AI, taking those things where there's not a schema, there's not a standard, and can actually help convert that. So getting the data ready and standardized is helpful, but even if it's not there, that certainly is not a reason to wait to connect your data systems or to use model context protocol to bridge all of your silos, your gaps, your databases, whether they be on-prem, in the cloud, or anywhere, and then try to get access to it. So we're seeing the barrier of entry lower, and the answer is a bit metaphysical, but we're using generative AI to help improve the data and get it ready for usage with generative AI, because it can clean it up, do that so much quicker, especially with model context protocol.
And if you think about the maturity of companies in their journey with data, obviously you work with a lot of large providers who are geared up for this and ready. Are you starting to see even smaller companies and people who are less available, or is it less available to them, really starting to use MCP as well?
Oh, absolutely. We've seen small companies do things with a team of 5 geoscientists, engineers that would have normally taken 100 in a larger company, and do this very quickly, and then move their teams onto higher level, more creative thinking. Another great example that we've seen is our partner Baker Hughes. They've used the Lucipa platform to make wells agents, production agents. These could be democratized to smaller oil and gas operators all the way up to super majors to use agents and technology to solve a problem on a well very quickly.
And I guess, Kim, as a parting thought, you think about what advice would you give to companies in the energy industry right now? What's that one or two really key things that we need to look to do?
Number one, I always say start with a business challenge, start with a problem and work backwards from that. And so find that key pain point, that key challenge in the business and start to use the technology to solve it. The other thing that I would say is the advantage, and what I would encourage all companies to do is just to really start to use it more every day in their workflows, to reinvent their workflows, get started with it. We've seen the statistics, there's not as much adoption as we want, and even just getting started with something like Amazon Quick, a chatbot, getting your data out there, connecting to S&P Global data, connecting to your applications, that in and of itself and putting it on a real business challenge is a great way to get started.
It's great, thank you so much. Thanks again for your time, Kim.
Likewise, thank you.